he seemed to be animating a very, very large vibration. His lap times weren't awful. He did it. I was watching earlier. He was actually quicker than Tim Muller the previous lap at a 1:48.
Oh, big problem for the 401. It's got rear suspension damage, crabbing on the end of the tow rope from that Mazda pickup truck that's pulling it down the pit lane. Now, in fact, the right rear is locked.
Massive black line, yeah. So
left rear is locked. So that's interesting. They were looking at the front wheel of that car, and was it the rear wheel or is it the front?
Can't tell from the
There's two lines being left by that car.
Well, it is
strange.
Well, do you know what that would suggest to me? That the left front steering arm has broken.
Yes.
On that car,
and the two rears are just being dragged along, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah.
Do you know, when you were talking about the side-by-side contact early on, and I know you guys give me stick for harking back to this, but we had side-to-side contact in the previous version of that car out on the circuit when I think Andy Palmer was driving it in 2017, that is now, and it took over an hour for that to break, and Paul Hollywood had that exact breakage, and somehow he kept it on the island going through the very fast S's and got the car back, and it took us half an hour to get that fixed, most of which I was sitting in the car for. So I'm just wondering, guys, if that has manifested it later on.
Think about Nürburgring 24 Hours last year as well, where Raffaele Marciello had a side-to-side contact in his man filter Mercedes, and that only bit in the following stint for Maxi Goertz in a completely different part of the circuit, and the steering rod failed, I think, and put him in the barrier, and it was all because of a mistake in the previous stint for the previous driver. So it does take a while for these parts to break.
Good. Seb's going out around the other side now, and this is the side where there is an issue, and they've already, it looks like it's the rear, John, because they've taken the rear off already, they've left the front, so the problem is at the rear, which is a bit weird.
So it was a rear toe link then, is probably what's happened. They were wiggling the front before because that's where they thought the issue was.
Yeah.
But it could have been a bit of rear steering that was getting dialed into that, and it might be one of the rear toe links or the suspension arms there. It was leaving a lot of rubber as if it was being scraped sideways down the road. Both of that
looks like the rear end's locked. That is telling me that neither of the rear tyres.
Nick, you're right.
That's
I think you might be right,
and that's what's putting it off, skewing it off into that weird angle.
So has it had some massive gearbox stroke differential failure?
And that's maybe all the oil that covers the car as well, down the sides and on the rear.
When the diff's gone.
I think it's been losing oil for quite some time, actually.
Do you know, John, are the new Vantage transaxle cars, is the gearbox at the rear?
No,
the old one was. I don't know the new one is. Because it's different.
Yes,
it's
I think it is.
AMG engine, isn't it? It's not the Aston engine anymore.
Yeah, but and don't forget it's a proper gearbox on this GT4 rather than the sport shift that was on the previous.